There are millions of self-improvement videos out there on YouTube, and the self-improvement industry itself is worth over $14 billion. And yet men are more depressed, anxious, and suicidal than they were 4 or 5 years ago when this movement exploded. How is that possible? How is it possible that a movement which prides itself on increasing the life quality of men is growing while the men themselves are suffering more and more? Well, as someone who spent 4 to 5 years treating self-improvement as a religion, I'm about to give you 3 reasons why self-improvement as it exists today isn't just ineffective, but one of the most spiritually destructive forces young men have ever encountered. And I'm going to show you what to do instead. By the way, my name is Gonzalo. When I was 14, I nearly took my own life. I almost unalived myself. I was miserable, depressed, with 3 therapists, playing 8,000 hours of video games in 2 years, and averaging a 12-hour screen time. Flash forward, I'm 19, I'm married, I'm running this coalition, this movement called Blood and Faith with this YouTube channel and all my other social medias. And I'm living the life that allows me to look in the mirror every day and know that I am the man I want to be. So I discovered self-improvement through Hamza, which, let me be very clear, I still credit for a lot of the shit that happened in my life, the big transformations. He played a huge part, he will always play a huge part. And if in some weird way he was watching this, I am grateful, but I do have my critiques. I got into self-improvement through Hamza, and I found Hamza when he had like 80, 90,000 subscribers. Like, he was not big at all yet. And I loved his content, and I loved the idea, and I finally found what I thought was a way out. And so because of that, I was consuming self-improvement non-stop, the content non-stop, because I thought it was going to change my entire life. I mean, I was just so infatuated with the content and the things he was saying. But my life was still shit. Again, 12 hours of screen time every day, 8,000 hours of video games in 2 years while still playing video games, while on self-improvement. I'm still porn addicted, multiple failed relationships and failed flings and just struggles with lust. My friend group collapsed. My life was terrible. I never woke up. I literally never woke up during my self-improvement journey and actually thought that I loved life. Like, I never woke up one day and was like, wow, I love life. It never happened. I actually woke up every day and thought I hated life, and I hated myself more in some sense when I was in self-improvement, because now I knew that I could be greater, but I wasn't. This hating of myself, this process, this stage of my life went on for 4 years until I made one of the most life-changing decisions of my life. And that's the fact that I became Orthodox. I became an Orthodox Christian. I started going to a Russian Orthodox church, a Willpower church, very near to me. And I converted. I was a born Catholic. I had experience with being a Christian. I knew about Jesus Christ and, how the religion worked and, our general theology. And I wanted to get back into Christianity. I realized that the whole of my life was God. And I'm not going to make this video a preachy video. I'll explain to you what this video is really about. But I saw the liberalism, the homosexualizing, how I like to say it, of the Catholic Church. I saw just how much the church fell away, and I just knew I couldn't become Catholic again. And so my little brother's been Orthodox for a really long time. He invited me to the Orthodox church. It just took me going twice to realize that this was home. So whatever I was missing, which I will dig deep into in this video, and I dig deep into my life after going to this church, but in that moment I realized that whatever I was missing, it was in this room. It was in this church. It was in this spiritual journey, this spiritual decision of mine. And so I became Orthodox, and a couple months after being baptized Orthodox, I was married Orthodox, and I'm now a married Orthodox Christian young man, and I also have a kid on the way. So I'm now a married Christian Orthodox young man with a kid on the way. And so why do I consider this one of the most life-changing decisions of my life? Because converting back to Christianity, and then especially becoming Orthodox, allowed me to do these things. I lowered my screen time to an hour and a half on average a day. I completely quit video games. I completely quit porn. I have a married relationship instead of failed short-term degenerate relationships. I'm building this Blood and Faith movement. Best of all, my mental health improved drastically. Like, I promise you, if I took one of those mental health quizzes before and after, the results would be insane. I mean, I nearly unalived myself when I was younger. My mom is the only reason I'm here. And now I have absolutely no thoughts of doing that. See, that's the difference between self-improvement and what I'm about to show you. The difference between an actual proper movement and proper way of developing yourself, and a fad and a destructive movement that I consider self-improvement. So let me break down exactly why self-improvement is killing you and what actually works instead. So the first massive problem with self-improvement, let me break it down very simple. They can't tell you, and I'm not saying you should, they can't tell you why you shouldn't unalive yourself. It's what I call the nihilism problem. And every creator, including Hamza, including any self-improvement creator, or even business creator like Alex Hormozi, they all run into this issue, the nihilist problem. They give you all these answers, all these advices, all the symptoms, all these systems, all these tips and general knowledge, and they tell you that this is the key to living life, and you have to do this, you have to go to the gym, you have to eat like this. But if you ever ask them why, they couldn't tell you anything. If you were to go up to Hamza and be like, well, why should I take cold showers? Well, it makes you more successful. Well, why should I want to be successful? Because you can live life with more freedom. But why should I want freedom? Because it's better than being a slave. Well, why is it better than being a slave? And why should I do what's better? Why should I do what's good? If you went up to Hamza and Alex Hormozi and you asked them, why should you wake up? Alex Hormozi, being the proclaimed nihilist he is, would probably tell you, you shouldn't. You just, if you want to, you can. If you don't want to, you don't want to. Hamza, I'm not sure what he would tell you. All these other self-improvement creators, they wouldn't be able to give you an answer to the point. Because they don't have one. Their worldview simply doesn't have that answer. They have no epistemological foundation. Epistemology, by the way, just means the study of knowledge and truth and how we can justify its existence in a very simplified sense. They don't have this. And because you're on self-improvement, you don't have this. You don't have an answer to the question of what is this all for? Why shouldn't I unalive myself? Why do I do the things I do? Why should I do good? Why should I be a good person? Why should I not do degenerate stuff? Why should I wake up? Why should I get out of my bed? Why should I quit porn? You don't have an answer. The only answer you have is subjective feelings, but you know your subjective feelings aren't real because your subjective feelings got you into the boat in the first place. You know it's not enough. Without God, without an eternal purpose, without every action having an eternal consequence, you can't tell yourself why. And I went through this, and this is why I could never change in self-improvement. Hamza has some pretty good, solid advice that I still agree with. But why? Why implement it? Don't tell me because of the benefits. Why even care about the benefits? Why not? It sounds harsh. Why not die? No man ever should, but why not? Well, I can tell you why. Because you were made in the image of God. Because you have an eternal home, and every action you ever take affects your condition of that eternal, your experience of that eternal home, and where you end up. Do you end up in a good eternal home or a bad eternal home? We're logical beings, and whether you want to admit it or not, you are always thinking about this, the why of what you're doing. And if you have no epistemological foundation, no ability to justify why you do the things you do, and believe the things you believe, and hold the worldview you hold, you're never going to change. And even if you change, you'll always feel empty. That's why most self-improvement people that make it will always go through the stage of, I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve, but I still feel empty. Why did Hamza go through it? Why do they all go through it? Because they're forced to face the question of, why did I even do this in the first place? And they have no answer, which is why they just end up chasing something else. They kick the can down the road instead of actually facing the question. I want you to understand that this is literally leading men to killing themselves. If you're asking why the suicide rate is so high, it's that men don't have an eternal purpose. They don't have an eternal purpose. They have no concept of God. They have no epistemological foundation. They are nihilist. They are atheists. They are Gnostics, or they're agnostic, or they are lukewarm Christians. They don't know the Bible. They don't know the faith. They don't know their theology. They don't know how it all works. They don't belong to an ancient faith tradition. They don't care about anything. They don't know what their purpose is. And of course they're going to kill themselves, because if you had an answer to why shouldn't I kill myself, you wouldn't do it. I mean, it's that simple. It really is that simple. And so what's the answer? The answer, in my opinion, is what I'm trying to do right now. What I'm trying to build. It's the blood and faith movement. It's, at the core, the idea that everything we do is for God, and for specifically our faith. I'm Orthodox, and everyone in my movement should be, and I'm going to promote it, and I'm going to operate from the frame that everyone in my movement is Orthodox. This is the longest standing tradition. This is the purest form of Christianity. It is the only true form of Christianity. It is the only church that has all the answers to all the questions you've ever wondered while on self-improvement and in your life. That's the core of the movement. But fundamentally, God-driven masculinity, the idea of fighting for your God, fighting for your church, fighting for your faith, and fighting for your blood, your ancestry, your land, your ethnicity, your people, your community, your state, your country, at every level of being a communal thinker, of wanting to do the best for your people and to please God and to move yourself closer to Him. This is my movement. This is what saved me. I wouldn't have got married. I wouldn't have I would not have stopped degenerate relationships. I would not have quit porn. I would not have become productive and built this movement. I would not have stopped playing video games, 8,000 hours in 2 years. I would not have lowered my screen time. I would not have done anything and actually felt better, mind you, if I didn't think like this, if I didn't adopt the blood and faith mindset. And so that's the solution. If you are tired of self-improvement, if you're tired of the mental health crisis that's causing it, the anxiety that it's driven by, the fear that it's driven by, join this movement. Forget self-improvement. You're going to improve, but you're going to have a reason to improve, a reason that matters. You're not going to quit porn because it's just the right thing to do, or it's just degenerate, it's just bad for your mental health. Okay, who cares? You're going to quit because your ancestors are watching, because God is watching, because you want to get closer to God, because you want to make your people proud, you want to make your church proud, you want to bring a good look to your community and your blood and your ancestors and your land. You're going to have a deep fire within you. Fire will be lit within you. You'll have all the answers to all the whys, all the excuses. Every single time you are asking yourself, why should I even wake up? You'll have an answer. It won't simply just be because this is what you want to do with your life. You have a reason to do it. It is divinely appointed of you. It is not driven by anxiety. It's driven by pure love. Imagine that. Your self-improvement journey, driven by pure love. Not anxiety, not fear, not hopeless discipline, not hopeless willpower, not burnout, love. Imagine wanting to become a stronger man and work out better at the gym because of love. You want to protect your family, your kids, your wife. Be able to protect your faith in your land and your blood. Imagine a life where every second you work is driven by love. Love of your sex, love of other men, not in a gay way, but wanting to boost other men and wanting to bring glory to the male species, the male sex. Imagine work driven by the love of God. You want to actually, through your work and what you produce, come closer to God. Imagine work driven by the love of your wife and your kids. Imagine work driven by the love of your neighbor and community. Imagine that work. Would you feel better? Would you be more productive? Would you have more reasons to be productive? Would you be more motivated? Of course you fucking would. So give up all the self-improvement bullshit. Give up the cold showers and the meditation and the demonic. The meditation is demonic, but give up all of it. Give up the mindset of self-improvement is the big point. A lot of Hamza's advice in the self-improvement influencers is not that bad. But give up the mindset. Give up the core and adopt a new core. Blood in your faith. And if you want to be part of that movement, just subscribe to this channel and join my free community, Ascent Light, because we will change the world.